This is Rise Up Live with West Michigan Woman, featuring conversations that matter to you, the local, influential, and professional woman.
Well, good morning, everybody. Jennifer Pasqua here, Content Engagement Manager. Welcome to Rise Up Live on this Tuesday, May 26th, day after Memorial Day. Hopefully everyone had a safe and wonderful Memorial Day. So we have quite a treat today for our guests. We're going to do the best we can with this because, as you all know, technology, right? So today we're going to be having a conversation with three women who you have probably seen all around the community, very engaged individuals, leaders in the Asian American Pacific Islander community. And the reason why we are inviting them on today is because it is a very special month. And so bringing to the screen we have right now, let's do this one by one. First, we're going to go ahead and bring in Connie Dang. Connie Dang is with the Office of Multicultural Affairs and Special Assistant for Inclusive Community Outreach over at GVSU. Good morning, Connie.
Good morning, Jenny. So glad to be here with you this morning.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And so here's where we're bringing in our next guest. Our next guest is somebody that you probably do know, Minnie, Morey, and Minnie is actually on the phone, and Connie's going to help us out with this. So Minnie Morey is the Executive Director at West Michigan Asian American Association, Inc. And Minnie, do we have you on the line?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm going to show everybody, there's Minnie right there. So we'll bring her up as we're talking with her. And also to the screen, we want to bring in Alice Kennedy. And Alice Kennedy, you of course probably have seen her all out and about as well. She is the talent acquisition sourcer at Gordon Food Service and also the owner of Kennedy Management Resources, Inc. and home of Diversity Theater. Good morning, Alice.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, ladies, for being part of this conversation. I think it's a really important conversation to be having. Of course, we are celebrating a special month this month. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And, you know, let's have a conversation about why this Asian Pacific Islander Month, Heritage Month, is such an important thing. Connie, let's start with you.
Yes, so good morning, my beautiful and talented Asian women in West Michigan. And thank you, Jenny, for the invitation. It's so great to be here with you all this morning. So when you think about it, in 1992, Congress passed legislation making the month of May Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So Asian Heritage Month has been established 28 years ago. But many people still don't know about this celebration. So to your question, Jenny, it is important to not only celebrate, but also to take this opportunity to raise awareness and to educate about different issues and topics that are relevant and interconnected to the Asian communities.
Yeah, and Minnie, I know that you've been in the West Michigan area for quite some time. How long have you been here? And you know, what is your first recollection of celebrating this Heritage Month? I don't know if Minnie could hear us, Connie.
Minnie, did you hear the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't.
Okay, so Minnie, I don't know if she can hear us now, but Minnie, she's been here for quite some time. So just wanting to get her take on celebrating this Heritage Month. You may be having difficulty getting Minnie on this one. Alice, you want to jump in?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm just saying the Asian Pacific Heritage Month that celebrates, you know, the culture, traditions, and history of a diverse population. Now, the West Michigan Asian American Association would normally hold our signature event, the Asian Gala, to bring together Asian community and business leaders to interact with the greater community. The pandemic crisis has forced us to cancel this event this year. Now, instead of the big celebration, we are focusing more on awareness of helping the Asian communities affected by this pandemic crisis, especially in need of food. And because of the funding we received through the United Way and the Kent County Essential Task Force, We have assisted over 700 families in the Asian communities with groceries and supported 6 ethnic grocery stores to buy food from their businesses. And the other Asian organizations have also stepped up to donate masks and protective gear for the communities and essential workers. So during this month, we are encouraging our communities to support local Asian businesses such as restaurants and ethnic grocery stores.
Absolutely. Minnie, thank you. You know, Alice, I know that you have been part of the committee for the Asian Gala as well. And so it is a little disappointing that we had to cancel, but clearly it's something that had to be done. How do you feel in regards to making sure that people still realize that these Asian communities are helping out, especially in light with this pandemic and the various forms of xenophobia that have been happening?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have like streamlined media in order to let everyone know what we're doing as a community. So Facebook, of course, has been a great venue for us. Just being able to have the Chinese Association, the Bhutanese, of course, the West Michigan Asian American Association, getting out there and being very, very active and letting everyone know that these are the things that we're doing, because we're doing a lot of little things, but they end up being very big things for those that are in need.
Absolutely. You know, and Connie, I know that you've been involved as well over at GVSU with the students there in trying to make sure that everybody is taken care of.
Yes. So before I answer the question, I just want to say one thing, that West Michigan is home to 55,000 Asian Americans, and they are descendants from many different countries. So as you can imagine, Asian heritage is so rich, so diverse, and so infinite. So just to contain the Asian celebration in the month of May is simply impossible. So I think that honoring, celebrating, and recognizing Asian Americans in West Michigan and also in the United States should be an ongoing conversation, and not only narrow down to just the month of May. So to your question, Jenny, about Asian Americans at GVSU, unfortunately, the anti-Asian, Asian American racism and xenophobia is not a new phenomenon. It has been part of American history for a long time. And we have seen it manifested against different Asian communities in many different ways over the years. Dated back in the early 1800s with the Chinese Exclusion Act, restricting Chinese immigration to the United States. So with the outbreak of the virus first reported in China, as this pandemic escalates, we have seen more harassment, discrimination, and even violence directed at Asian communities across the country. So, ladies, being Asian Americans can be a very scary time now. In my work with Asian students, not only Asian, but all students at GVSU and also K-12 in the community, I have been doing presentations around this topic. So last week, I spoke to a group of interfaith scholars ranging from 9th to 12th grade on the ways to combat xenophobia and also to counter storytelling about Asian Americans.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, as Asian leaders, as Asian American women leaders, especially here in West Michigan, how are all of you taking your leadership and, you know, spreading the positivity at this point? Minnie, can we get Minnie to answer that question first?
Well, can you repeat that question?
You bet. Yeah. So Minnie, we're talking about leadership now. And, you know, as a local leader, in fact, you were named one of the 50 most influential here in West Michigan women leaders this year. How do you take your leadership and make sure that you're spreading your heritage and the things that you're doing in a positive way to make sure that West Michigan knows that, you know, the Asian American community does exist here?
Oh, the West Michigan Asian American Association is in a position to connect with all the established Asian groups and communicating with all the Asian leaders as much as possible to share information and resources that is important to share within their own communities, because there are so many different languages that have to be communicated through the Asian groups. So with information about any discrimination or bias, personally, I have not received any complaints, even with our interpreters who work with us. But what we can do is to give them information that if they need to report any discrimination and bias incidents that are targeting Asian Americans, to report the complaints to the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, and also encouraging those in authority to speak out against unlawful discrimination of Asian Americans.
Minnie, thank you. Alice, you know, I know that you do a phenomenal job all the time, just sharing a lot about your culture. And, you know, you are seen as this local leader. I mean, you're at every single event that's possibly had in this area, I think. But, you know, you recently spoke of the journey of belonging on a local news station. And, you know, share a little bit about your thought process of kind of being, you know, you may not see it right now, but you are paving the way for others just like you who may want to become that community servant.
So, you know, as part of coaching young girls and boys, no longer boys, at East Kentwood High School, and being able to role model for them, specifically in inviting them. Of course, we haven't been able to do that in a long time, but just inviting the younger generations to get more engaged, to attend some of the activities that we had been having, so that they can see the impact of Asians and what we can do is in a small group, but yet have such big ripple effects. And so really just showing them by example and inviting them to get involved in every aspect possible that is available out there. It's been a little bit more difficult because we've been not able to gather, but really that's how it starts, is getting them engaged, inviting them. And when I say them, I mean youth as well as people in the community at large. It doesn't have to be specific to Asians or Asian youth, but just taking someone and introducing them to a new environment often opens up their eyes and getting them passionate about what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Connie, as a, you know, prominent Asian leader, especially in higher learning, what do you hope your actions can do to inspire others?
Yes, so thank you. And I love what Minnie and Alice just said about leadership. And I'm going to take my answer with a different spin here. For me, I hope to be a student of inclusive leadership and apply this leadership style to my everyday work. For example, I have talked about my efforts to address issues around xenophobia and Asian racism. But at the same time, I'm also being part of the solution to study and make recommendations to close the disparity gap of African American, Native, and Hispanic deaths due to COVID-19. So through the governor's Michigan Coronavirus Task Force on Racial Disparities, I have been working with stakeholders and partners across the state to address this important social justice issue. So that's that at the state level. And I'm just hoping that I am a servant leadership and to able to contribute not only to the Asian community, but to all communities.
Connie, thank you. And last, just roundabout you ladies, in the fact that the hope is those who are watching will have a better understanding and appreciation. So, Minnie, before we let you go, I would love to get her take on what she hopes people walk away with from the conversation we've been having this morning.
Well, I would like to say that the West Michigan has always been a welcoming community to receive immigrants and refugees from many countries. There are people who are continually learning their way of life to overcome many barriers such as language and transportation, and just learning how systems work in our society. I hope that many citizens learn about the rich heritage and contributions of our new Americans, such as the Bhutanese, Nepali, and Burmese populations in West Michigan, many hard workers in essential jobs such as the food industry. Our community needs to understand that the Asian and Pacific Islander populations of West Michigan are a diverse group who come from different countries, who speak multiple dialects, refugees, especially who experience the effects of war and poverty to seek a better life here, and to be more aware of their traditions and culture and the contributions they are given to West Michigan. Thank you, Jennifer, for having us on the show today.
Absolutely. Minnie, thank you so much for joining us. And Alice, I want to get your take as well. Final thoughts as we close off this conversation, a conversation that, could go on for quite some time.
Right. Yeah. So the last 2010 census, we were like 2% of the population. And what I want people to take away is, although we're a small percentage, we are mighty. We do a lot of things. We are involved in all aspects of the community, and not only for ourselves, but also, as Minnie mentioned, for the community at large, as far as the Asian community. And then just wanting to let everyone know that the West Michigan Asian American Association is also going to be working on some forums for the community so that they can have a better understanding of Asian women, Asian issues, and other Asian related topics. But until we can get together again, that might be in the future in 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. Connie, last thoughts?
Yes, so oftentimes when we think about celebrating Asian Heritage Month, we tend to gravitate to food, music, cultural entertainment. Yes, of course, enjoy, but I also want us to stretch ourselves, push ourselves out of our comfort zone, and to go deeper into the history of Asian Americans in the United States. If we don't tell the story of Chinese workers who helped build the Transcontinental Railroad back in the early 1860s, then who will? And then in 1882, an immigration law passed, the Chinese Exclusion Act. And this act prevented Chinese people from immigrating to the United States. Think about it, right? So it was the first immigration law that excluded an entire ethnic group. So I will end with, I hope that people would take away from this conversation that Asian Heritage Month is a time for celebration, but it is also perfect opportunity to reflect on and to learn from our history so that we can help shape a better future for us as well as for our community, and to make our community a better place to live, work, and play. So thank you, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Alice. Thank you, Minnie. Thank you. We appreciate the conversation that we had this morning. Again, a reminder, if you want to read more about the latest on professional women here in West Michigan, head over to westmichiganwomen.com. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Bye, ladies.
Bye, thank you.